Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Hermitage Strange Case Files, episode number 5, I think? I don't actually remember. Anyway, the last time, Scarlet went in covert into this school, Phoenix High I think it was called, to talk to two of the students of the art club, and things weren't all that they seemed like. They gave answers like, oh yeah, we're looking forward to these competitions coming forward, and we're looking forward to improving our image, as opposed to last year where they were caught cheating. But clearly there was something else going on, so we're slowly unravelling what is going on in this school. But quite a slow start right now, I have to admit, to this game. I was expecting more spectacular things to have occurred by now. But we haven't had much associated with that other than the things that Cecile has said. The one other major thing to take out from the last episode, by the way, was that Scarlet and the shop manager confirmed my suspicion when I said, if she's having visions of the past, then Eloise must be dead. But we haven't told that yet to Cecile, so we'll see when we break the ice to that. Anyway, let's get down to business. Even with the current situation and Cecile's problems, the world keeps on turning relentlessly. Tales from the Vienna woods can be heard faintly from across the street. The guy who owns the tobacco and liquor store seems to be a man of music taste. I really assumed Cecile would have stopped by the store by now, but then again, Phoenix High School is quite far away. Still nothing. I'd better send her a message tonight to find out what's going on, just to be on the safe side. Other than that, it's a typical Wednesday, although I've only seen a few people around. A mother and son, two middle-aged men, and a young guy with a healthy interest in the French Revolution. Is today actually a public holiday or something? The whole concept has been long lost to me. In any case, the day is coming to an end and there isn't much point in staying open. I should call it a day. After letting out a big yawn, I grab a few books and begin my nightly routine. Sorry to bother you. Someone's standing in the doorway. I freeze. It's the girl who was taking pictures of the store from the other side of the street last night. I've never been the type to believe in coincidences. Right. Who are you? There is complete silence. She doesn't waste time and walks straight towards the desk. She's well-mannered, keeping her feet from making too much noise on the quartz floor. Her demeanour is calm, but she gives off a mysterious aura. It's as if the light can only go around her. What do you mean it can only go around her? So she's just literally a shadow? It's not her clothes. She's meticulously dressed in a slightly faded but tidy school uniform. Nor is it because of her appearance. She has good posture and maintains polite, albeit small smile. Something about her immediately grabs my attention. Welcome. Most of the books here are ready to buy. We don't have any stocks in the back, so just bring the ones you're interested in straight to the counter. She walks up to me while I'm still speaking. How rude. She confidently looks me in the eye, her long hair floating behind her like a curtain. Hello, I'm looking for a book. Ah, yes. Of course. What kind of book are you looking for? Is it okay if I only have have the title? What's the name of the book? The Trail of the Missing Fish. I have a hard time playing it cool and break out in a cold sweat. I've heard you carry many books that are quite unique and cannot be found anywhere else. That's true. It's a shame, really. Your timing is unfortunate. It was acquired by someone else just recently. The girl smiles calmly. I see. This mystery is easy enough to solve. She moves a little closer, calmly, as if to signal that everything is under control. Your time must be precious, so please allow me to ask you directly. Did a girl named Cecile get it? I try to keep my expression as neutral as possible. It wouldn't be wise to lie. That she mentioned Cecile's name must mean that she knows something. I don't know how much she knows and what Cecile told her. Cecile still hasn't called. I should play it safe. Since she knows about Cecile's visit to the store, and about the book she borrowed, this girl must be close to her in some way. Her faded Phoenix High School uniform makes it apparent that she's not a new student there. She must know something about Cecile's situation, or she wouldn't have chosen this moment to show up. But this isn't the time for me to lay out all of my cards on the table. Well, as you can see, this place is rather small and a little messy. Still, Hermitage values each and every one of its customers. I deliberately put on a more serious face. I'm afraid I can't discuss my customers' private matters, especially with a guest whose name I don't know. The girl looked surprised, as if she wasn't prepared for such a direct statement. I'm Eloise, Cecile's friend. I'm also the president of the art club she's in. She's a fucking ghost, isn't she? She's dead. I'm sorry. I was so focused on this one thing I completely forgot to introduce myself. My apologies. She bows slightly and hands me her student card. She's doing this to remove any doubts about her identity. Very polite, very thoughtful. A response I wouldn't have expected from a student. A bit too much, maybe. Eloise, is it? What an introduction. Might as well bait her into answering a few questions. I'd like to find out more about her. Cecile mentions her so frequently that my interest is piqued. Not only that, but she plays an important role in Cecile's hallucinations and is somehow connected to it all. And also should be dead, apparently. We don't mention this at all. Cecile is somewhat of a regular customer here, and I sometimes talk about school with her. I'm sorry for being so suspicious. I just take privacy very seriously. I didn't mean to be rude. Eloise looks relieved and the tension fades away. No worries. I think valuing privacy is a respectable trait. To answer your question, yes. Cecile did purchase The Trail of the Missing Fish here. I didn't pay it a second thought because she's always shown an interest in folklore. Why is that book so special to you? Is there something wrong? The problem isn't the book itself. Eloise looks troubled. Actually, something's wrong with Cecile. We used to meet after class, a lot. Practice a little here and there. Art practice. Our school is very strict and the standards there are very high. She loves to paint and I wouldn't want her to miss any opportunities. I support her. That's very noble of you. You must take your position seriously. In the beginning, Cecile was always so enthusiastic about practice. Actually, she often approached me to plan meetings in advance. But lately it's almost as if she's been hiding from me. I asked her if there was something on her mind. Something weighing her down. But she wouldn't answer me. She bows her head and seems lost. Our school's public image is a very prestigious one. So much so that many of our students are very proud. Cecile transferred to the school just recently. I'm worried that something or someone might be bothering her, and she's too afraid to say it. Eloise pulls on one of her cuffs and gives me an apprehensive look. So, I'm not proud of it, but I've been tracing her steps after school to see if she needed help with anything. That's a very fancy way of saying you've been stalking someone. I'm not sure how well you guys know each other, but don't you think following someone around after school is a bit extreme? I know it's wrong, but I didn't know what else to do. Please don't tell Cecile about this, please. She bows her head again. This really seems to be getting to her. I keep talking in a calm and friendly manner. Don't worry about that. So, what's your plan? You're going to do door to door to go and find out where she's been? Actually, this store is basically the only place she ever visits. That's what made me think that maybe you know something. Now Eloise is the one trying to ask the questions. Well, how should I put this? I put out my cigarette and take a deep breath. The two girls really do seem to be quite close. This is my golden opportunity to find out more and finally get the answers I've been looking for. I should slip into a certain role. When two people don't really know much about each other, it's easy to pretend to be someone else. I'm confident there's a lot I can find out if I play this right. There should be a way without her having to say anything. I need to find the right moment to take a closer look at Eloise. When it comes to analysing behaviour patterns, choosing the right approach is essential. I might not get a better chance in this, so I mustn't miss it. Still, asking out of the blue wouldn't be smart. I need to plan this carefully. Okay. So this is a new mechanic, I guess. So I guess I have to click this like little I button above Eloise at the appropriate moment. I'm not sure though. I'm sure it'll tell me. Since you've been so honest with me, I think I can trust you. Cecile had her reasons for coming to me. I get up, ready to share my secrets with Eloise. Truth be told, before taking over this bookstore, I spent most of my life in the field of clinical psychotherapy. Oh? Unfortunately, I no longer have my license. When I was young, I had a dispute with some of the older gentlemen in the association. They made use of their connections and influence to kick me out and stop me from practicing. This feels like bullshit, but we'll see. I waved my hand a little, a typical let's not dwell on the past gesture. It's not even a complete lie, more of like a half lie. I used to work in the field of social sciences. But how did Cecile... One of my friends probably couldn't keep his mouth shut. Word gets round, Cecile hears it, mentioned somewhere. That's how these things happen. Try and put yourself in her shoes. It's not something you tell everyone. That will just make people more worried. That should sound believable enough. Eloise gives me an understanding nod. I breathe a sigh of relief, look around, and deliberately lean forwards a little. I'm not going to tell anyone about what you've been doing, but I'd appreciate it if, in exchange, you could keep my story a secret too. In any case, this is about Cecile's well-being, so we're on the same team. Eloise doesn't reply, but lets her eyes wander around the store instead. She takes in the messy piles of books at the edge of the shelves and the old posters I hung up on the wall. I'd say the first floor perfectly captures the wayward scholar ambiance. And being gloomy isn't exactly something I have to pretend to be. Okay, I promise. Eloise nods in acknowledgement of our little deal. I decide to strike while the iron's hot. Well, that's good. Anyway, you've already found your way here. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? So far I've only heard Cecile's point of view, so your help would be much appreciated. Please ask. If there's any way I can help, I will do it. Hearing Cecile's name seems to make her particularly energetic. I take out my notebook and quickly flip to the page with the most handwriting scribbled on it to keep up appearances. I have a lot of questions, actually. Let's go through them one by one. What should I ask? So, I don't know when we're going to be clicking on this. I don't know if we're going to get a prompt to do it, but we'll see. We'll ask about Cecile's activities in the school, I think. Yeah. Cecile told me a few things. You're a little older than her, correct? That's right. I'm in my senior year now. I see. Then you probably don't know much about how Cecile is doing in her class, and what the atmosphere is like there. That's right, but I still know some things. Her class is a so-called preparation class that aims to attract students by lowering the tuition fee, but has a very high expectation and demands rapid progression. I've heard that the head teacher there is very strict. And the teacher doesn't say anything against someone from a preparation class wanting to join one of the extracurricular clubs as well. Eloise smiles bitterly. Actually, people from these preparation classes make up the bulk of the club members. I don't follow. It's to project strength, to make a statement. We can pursue our hobbies even though learning is stressful. I assume you're familiar with that sentiment. Many students even sign up for a club on paper, but you never see them around in person. However, the guidelines aren't that clear, and with Cecile being a transfer student, maybe the teacher just doesn't care. So while her classmates were stressed out and learning at home, Cecile was one of the few who actually participated in club activities. I sigh and shake my head. That explains why many of them don't get along with Cecile. I know it's not a nice thing to say, but I think many of them have severe issues. It's hard to imagine the pressure they're under, but it's the reason why many of them have a really short fuse. Okay. Let's ask about Cecile's current situation in the club then. How is Cecile's performance at the art club? Performance? Well, she wasn't familiar with many of the techniques the rest of us were taught at a young age, but she's a quick learner and is doing really well. She has a lot of potential. She's very eager, and I'm sure she has a bright future ahead of her if she seizes the right opportunities. How does she get along with the other club members? Eloise frowns. This seems to be something she's concerned about. I won't exactly call it harmonious. According to what she told me, they wanted her to leave the club. You could say that, yes. It puts her under a lot of pressure. Your studio rarely gets new members. That's true. It's not easy to join. After all, it represents the school to the outside world, so there's an image to uphold. The admission process is very strict, even for senior students. But a transfer student got a spot. Many departments underwent personnel changes, and the new teachers did say that they were planning on making the process a little less demanding. Cecile submitted her application after the recruitment campaign in September, so she was one of the first chosen under these new, more relaxed guidelines. That could be why the others are so harsh and unwelcoming towards her. Eloise looked sad when she talked about the situation. It's my fault. My failure. I'm the person responsible for the relationship between the students, and it's my job to handle differences within the club. Don't beat yourself up. The situation could be worse. Okay. What's your opinion on Cecile, Eloise? What do you think of her? Eloise seems a little baffled and doesn't understand my question. Since you and Cecile spend a lot of time together, you probably know each other pretty well. I would like to hear your opinion about her, from you, as her friend. Eloise nods. She fiddles with a strand of her hair, and seems to consider her words carefully. First off, she's a really kind person. Although she doesn't talk much, she's always optimistic and sees the best in people. She's very calm and never gets angry. Even though the attitude towards her is as cold as it is, Cecile avoids arguments and trouble and stays quiet. Even when the others are so mean to her? She glances at me and I can see there's a lot on her mind. On Cecile's first day at the club, I couldn't be there because I had some chores to take care of. When I got back to the studio, I saw a student I had never seen before picking up the practice materials. I was supposed to handle that. It was a lot of work, strenuous work, and the materials had to be treated with care, since some of the projects were only half finished. She just quietly and carefully put everything in its place. And you said you were supposed to handle that? Yes. That day it was my turn. That's why I even came back from a trip early. There's a lot of risk involved when you let someone new and inexperienced handle the paintings. It's easy to cause irreparable damage. Oh. The painting from last year had a damage in the corner, wasn't it? Did Eloise damage... Not Eloise. Cecile damage the corner of the painting? It's mean and unjust to give a newbie that job. It's too much responsibility. They did it on purpose. I'm sure of that. There had already been talk about Cecile being accepted into the club, and it being a controversial decision. I hurried to help Cecile and told her I'd finish up. I made it clear to her that she didn't have to do this, and that it wasn't something the others should make her do. She just shook her head and said, "It wouldn't be a shame to leave these paintings lying around." I'm not sure what to say. That's the kind of person Cecile is. She makes the best out of every situation. I tell her to continue. However, she's a little too shy and withdrawn. Eloise's tone is filled with concern. Although kindness is a virtue, people consider you an easy target if you never speak up for yourself. If she never says anything, the people who bully her will never receive just punishment. And by the time she does muster up the courage to say something, it might be too late for that. She'll never get justice that way. The others will never learn their lesson. Nobody will experience any personal growth. That's the worst possible result. That's an interesting conclusion. Sorry, I'm just rambling. No. I actually agree with you. Can I click this now? Examine her head, examine her face, examine her posture, examine her wrists. Why the wrists? I'm going to wait on this for a second. I'm going to see if the game prompts me. Cecile mentioned an event, a sort of competition called the You Say Cup. You seem to be taking it very seriously. It's an art competition sponsored by the Provincial Young Artists Association. Our school always participates. It's somewhat of a tradition. We always score really well too. Sounds as if something very important for the school's image and reputation. Are students forced to participate? Not officially. But if you're part of the groups that regularly win, you're somewhat forced to keep participating. It's a vanity thing. And are you one of those groups? The girl smiles tiredly. I'd rather not be. The competition between the schools is fierce, and I'm afraid it's been deemed much too important. They've turned it into a really serious thing, even though it's supposed to be a fun event. So the adults battle it out through their kids. This year's thing was suddenly changed from watercolour to oil painting. That doesn't normally happen. Everyone's on edge because of that. Sounds like it's not easy being part of the Star Club. We're just trying to uphold the club's reputation. The competition is becoming more and more troublesome every year, and there's a limit to everything. At the end of the day, nobody cares about what it does to the students. They don't care about our feelings. It's all just one big, silly fight for glory. I don't think it's something to be proud of. It's wasted energy. Eloise has a very strong opinions, and she stands by them. That's my conclusion after asking her so many questions. She is calm and composed and can back up all her arguments with logic. She has a very mature way of thinking, something that's particularly uncommon among her peers. Still, this girl with her perfect posture, good manners, and high intellect, doesn't seem to have many friends. We've been talking for over 2 hours, and yet she's mentioned hardly any other students by name. No wonder she cares so much for Cecile. She has somewhat of a protector's instinct, and just wants her to do well. I'm sure that from a psychological perspective, trying to maintain order among the students while standing in the crossfire between them and Cecile is taking its toll on her. You've been a really big help. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. The girl humbly bows her head. Let's not forget that she was stalking Cecile, but even so, she's shown nothing but sincerity. Oh my, I've completely lost track of the time. Is that going to be an issue with your school? Eloise follows my eyes to look at the wall clock and can't seem to help but smile bitterly once more. I get the feeling I missed that prompt opportunity. That's my fault. We'll learn that in the future though, now that I've seen it. I guess that's all we can talk about for today. I'll come back another time. She bows a little and turns around, ready to leave. Things are going really well. I should make use of that one more time. Say, Eloise? What is it? Eloise stops and looks over in my direction. Concerning your and Cecile's after-school practice, could you put that on hold for a few days? Huh? For a moment, there is tension in the air again. Eloise throws me a puzzled look, filled with more than just confusion. That might have been a little bit too direct. I don't overstep my boundaries. I have to say something. Assume the role as a psychologist, Cecile's mental state, insist on having more life experience due to your age, show that you care about Cecile, or avoid the topic. I think we assume the role as a psychologist, Cecile's mental state. I mean, Cecile has been under a lot of stress lately. She has to act responsibly to deal with these problems and sort out her current situation. It won't help if you're not around for that. You have to make time for her. Sure, if you think that's best. But I'm not so sure she'll agree. Why is that? I'm just not sure she's even still interested in hanging out with me. You said it yourself. We've been under a lot of pressure lately. I had the same thoughts last Tuesday too. But Cecile didn't have time to meet up with me. She said she had other things to do and was busy. That struck me as strange, and then I found out she was alone in the studio. I have no idea what she was doing there. It must have been hard for you too. Everyone goes through tough times, right? The whole thing is just weird to me. As her senior and her friend, she should be able to share her problems with me. I just want to help her. I give her an understanding nod. Please take good care of her. Eloise nods once more and smiles at me. Then she leaves the store. I let out a sigh of relief. It's difficult to reason with people who are really concerned about something. There's a word for that. I can't recall the term for it right now. Enough of this. I turn off the lights again. Okay, I think we're good for the day. Although, is there anything I can clue up in here? Realistic dreams. What happened to Eloise? Can I... I'm trying to get the intel into here. Is this intel or is this tasks? I'm just going to tick all these off just in case they pop it cross. Okay, we got that in the questioning before. What happened to Eloise? Underneath its pure white exterior, Phoenix High School is hiding something. Can we find out more? So I can't drag stuff from here. And this just moves me left and right. Okay, I guess we get prompted for this. Maybe in this area on the left. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see what we have thought-wise. I really wanted to check out ahead, by the way, just to see if there was like any damage, like any signs that she's already dead. But I don't know. The more and more I talk to Eloise, honestly, the more and more I felt like she's, you know, alive and kicking, and that maybe something is untoward with Cecile instead. Kind of an interesting twist. Nobody's around. Finally can sort out my thoughts. I'm not satisfied with the way things have been going. Eloise and Cecile seem to have a good relationship. Being so open to me about everything doesn't seem like the reaction of someone with bad intentions. Also, Eloise is unhappy with the club's current state, which fits together very well with Scarlett's findings. Without a car and all by herself, it would take quite a bit of time to get to Hermitage from Phoenix High School, so she shouldn't have had seen Scarlett making contact with members of the art club. Maybe I should believe her. Okay. Let's go to nighttime. Let me get onto the forums. Let me see. What else? I'm back on the second floor and finally there's a chance to make use of what Scarlett managed to find out. It's pretty crazy to see how quickly social media platforms have changed and advanced over the past few years. The student Scarlett found out about uses the same name on multiple platforms. She must have conducted some preliminary research using search engines to find out. However, things aren't looking so good. There's a personal blog, but it hasn't been updated in ages and was most likely abandoned some time ago. It's hard to find any written material by the student, even in forums where some traces should have been left. Don't you play missing now? Welcome to the Web 2.0 era, where social media platforms advance at an incredibly rapid pace. Not everyone is quick to adapt to these new system changes. The students' tweets are very infrequent and random. Many people feel awkward using certain platforms at first, and the limited word count is an additional obstacle. That might explain it. People looking for alternatives often make the switch to platforms with a more personalised touch. I need to find another message board. Suddenly I have an idea. Tumblr is one example of the so-called light blog platforms that have emerged over the past few years. It isn't used a lot in this country, but several local companies claim to be good enough to keep up with it. Let's just see how good they are. I enter the name at the end of the URL. Bingo. Colour paintings decorate the page. As a member of the art club, she ended up picking a site that's hugely popular among designers and artists. Users of the site upload their own artwork, and she is no exception. Her basic skills are very solid, although not amazing. At least that's my first impression as an amateur. I'm not here to appreciate art. I open all her updates since January and start browsing through them one by one. January 15th. Today's practice. Compared to the previous few days, my thoughts are a lot clearer now. There is room for improvement in the front and background layers, as well as in the overall composition. That said, I don't know how to improve it exactly. The last time I touched watercolours was as a junior, and I was never really good at it. But I guess I was okay. I did my best anyway. February 1st. This is the finished piece from the last practice session. Even after carefully matching the colours, there are still some obvious flaws. The student representative won. That's what the rumours say, although the results hadn't been announced yet. She was already preparing to celebrate in the studio. I don't know how to feel. Although I wasn't arrogant enough to think that I could outright win, her painting isn't winning material either. The atmosphere in the club today was very unpleasant, and the teacher seemed to go out of his way to avoid getting involved. I wonder what tomorrow will bring. March 17th. Sorry, no updates for 2 months. The club has been quite a mess recently, and we had much fewer classes than usual. There was an intense argument between 2 club members, but the rest of us were too afraid to intervene. At the end of the day, both of them were equally responsible for what happened. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, please don't comment on it below. Next time I'll probably show you some random stuff I've been working on. April 20th. Just a few illustrations this time. What do you think? What do you think is a good name for this piece? A lot has piled up. When I look at it, I feel kind of proud of myself. I don't know if I can continue painting. How do you guys manage to keep yourselves motivated? I think I'm losing the spark. It's become more of an annoyance than something I love doing. May 7th. 2 sketches. Sure enough, a hard pen seems to work better. I received many friendly messages after my last post. Thank you for your concern. I'm going to keep posting updates. I think it's too early to give up on this. I feel motivated again. In fact, it has something to do with the change in the art club. The way it happened wasn't the best, but the outcome was unexpectedly good. Maybe that's just how it had to be. By the way, the name Twilight Tea is really good. June 28th. Busy with a lot of final exam stuff, no new updates, just saying hi. One of us suddenly quit the club. I guess we didn't realise just how close we are to graduating. Things are getting serious. I don't understand how someone could quit now. We're all in the same stressful position. I think quitting is kind of weak. July 13th. A piece I drew at home. I tried to change up the pattern, but I'm not happy with it. I've talked about spatial perspective before. I don't seem to be very good at it. How on earth do you come up with the scene concept? Can anyone help me out? July 14th. 2 more, that's it. My mood's bad, the weather's bad. My mum hasn't returned home from Cambodia yet. I don't think she follows me on here, so I'm asking you, how would you nicely convince someone to come back home? I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but I'm a little pissed off to be honest with you. August 21st. The recomposition version. For the first time, I feel like I've mastered it. I had a lot of private stuff going on, so I didn't really practice at all during summer vacation. It's nice to be able to get some summer assignments done. Ultimately, the police didn't get involved in the incident in July, but it did take up a lot of time, and it was exhausting. There are some things I can't really discuss. I feel kind of bad, and I owe you guys a lot. On an unrelated note, if any of your local friends spot a group of people wearing black, covering their faces, tell them to stay away. Cult? They might not intend to hurt you, but if you get too curious, who knows what kind of trouble you could get into. September 2nd. Another one finished. Maybe this type of painting is my strength. My teacher seems to think so as well. I haven't studied Monet much, but it's similar to his style. Space, structure, hierarchy, perspective. It's all the same problem really. After you've mastered different perspectives, your understanding of the scene's environment improves immediately. I'll try the Battle of Troy next when my mindset is still fresh in my head. I still miss that smell. Should I try it again? This is lilac grass, isn't it? I don't think logic applies to the last painting. I don't think it's supposed to make sense. She didn't mention names, but there's only a handful of people who could have gotten her so riled up. If that's true, I'm worried about her statements. Knowing what I know now, We should have prepared more thoroughly before investigating the school. It doesn't make a lot of sense to think about the past now. It's more important to figure out how to proceed. I should go over everything with Scarlet tomorrow. That's all I can find out for now. Time to get back to my regular job. Huh? Hi, Cecile. I finished reading Trails of the Missing Fish. I'll return it tomorrow, okay? Of course, anytime. Thanks. See you then. Have you gathered anything new from reading it? Sadly not. I still haven't made any progress. Many descriptions in the book do not match up, but it doesn't change the fact that it's all based on hearsay. There are often different explanations for the same thing. If you can pinpoint the fishing village exact location, shouldn't that be the confirmation you're looking for? I tried to find it on my phone's map app. I couldn't find any place in the south with that name. The location given by the author is much too vague. It's pretty common for small fishing villages like that just to slowly disappear over time, especially with more and more people moving to bigger cities. I probably got my hopes up too much, thinking that this book would help me. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you. Ah, ask about Eloise. By the way, have you heard from Eloise? She came to see me today, but I went back to the dorm and told her I wasn't feeling well. How did she react to that? She didn't seem to be taken aback by it, but she went home really early today. She usually stays a little longer and even cleans up after everyone else. Maybe something unexpected happened, like he came to my bookstore. It's probably nothing. It's just a guess. Ask about the art club. Has there any new developments in the art club for the past 2 days? Nothing's changed. We're still starting to prepare for this competition next semester. The atmosphere is tense and mountains of materials are already piling up. That's an exaggeration, right? I recall painting canvases being very expensive. Yeah, you're right about that, but the supplies we need are all paid for by the school. Wow, that school sure lives up to its reputation. They're taking this really serious if they're backing the project with so much money. They didn't want me to take part in the project at first, but Eloise stood up for me, and the others agreed to it eventually. That sounds tough. Ask Cecile about Cecile, sure. Did you find anything out in the past few days? It's hard to find out more at school. Classes are going on as usual. It's midterm and the teachers are nervous. We don't have a lot of free time. Did you have any more of your strange visions or dreams? No, I haven't used any incense in the last 2 days. Smart decision. Alright, end topic. So that's how it is. I'm a little hesitant to ask, but have you made any progress? Excuse me? I'm not even making any money on this. Cheek. I did some research, yes. I haven't come to any conclusion yet, though. But we can't force anything. Some things just take time. You're right. Even if I asked Eloise directly, she'd probably just joke around. I still don't feel comfortable about this incense you've been telling me about. If you can, try to get your hands on a little more of this lilac grass. If we're careful about it, we'll be able to avoid making things worse at least. Since I can't do it myself, I'll find a way to get someone to analyse the ingredients. I'll do my best. Anything that can cause hallucinations this intense is dangerous. No exceptions. So even if Eloise asks you, don't make any rash decisions. At least wait until I'm done with this part of the investigation. Okay? Yeah, understood. You want another call? Stay out of this. Don't get involved again. Question mark. It's not good for you. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Just take a deep breath and calm down. Why don't we talk about this in a friendly manner, like adults, face to face? Anyway, don't say I didn't warn you. It's on you now. Ah. Interesting. Mystery person's threatening, but 40% battery, by the way. Store manager, you might want to deal with that soon. Alright, what's on the internet? Ah, we have no posts on the original Chime, I believe. Where were we? I think we're up to Lily Black. But why did they keep jumping him back and forth between the two melodies? Did the Queen not like this particular tune? I think that's just meant to be a particular tune. Changing it back wasn't an option, I guess. I remember when the clock tower used to be operated mechanically, so maybe they recorded the tune back then. Then they added several speakers and show electronic chimes, so they could use any song they wanted. As for the current melody, it's really popular and it isn't offending anyone either. Trying to be appropriate in all kinds of situations, and that's what's happened. Alright. Sure. I think everything else has no new posts, so we can just back out of here. See what's on the TV. A series has been shown on TV. Looks like this show is quite popular due to the male and female lead actors. It's just an ordinary love story, but it's surprisingly interesting. The acting, especially at the end of the episode, is also really good. I like it. Looks like there's a new addition to my Wednesday night entertainment routine, when I'm not busy solving school children's, issues. We've added some more things to this investigation board, but we don't know anyone's names yet. Someone tied to Eloise, and then club members tied to Cecile and the teachers. Okay. Well, that's the end of the day. Thursday, 19th of October. You know what? I'm going to call it there for this part anyway. We've just hit another day. This seems like an appropriate stopping point. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps me out. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.